Hello everybody and welcome to part 6 of this Laravel tutorial series, and today we are going to finally start off with the forum part of the series. First, however, we want to go into our PHPMyAdmin, load up the users table, and go to the user that we created before, and for now just manually, by double clicking, set isAdmin to 1. Now that will give us admin rights in the future while we develop our application. So the first thing we want to do is in our routes file, create a new routes group. Just as we've done before with this guest and auth group, but now we want to prefix all our routes with forum and add the callback function. Like so. Now in this group we want to have the routes, so the main route, so route get slash, and this is a slash with a prefix of forum, so this should be slash forum. So this is basically just this route slash forum. This route uses forum controller, which we still have to make, at index, I guess, and oh wait, this should be an array, so array like so, uses forum controller index as forum home. Now the other route we want to do is route get slash and then the group ID, so we want something like slash group slash and then the ID. Now passing variables in URLs is really easy with Laravel. You just open a curly brace, type the variable name, so in this case ID, and close it again. Then we are using an array. Oh shit. Array uses forum controller at group, or not group, forum controller at group, yeah, and then as forum group. Am I doing this correct? No, I'm not, because the groups are going to be on the same page as the categories. So what we want to do is, instead of using a group, change this to category. Yep, that makes more sense. And then lastly, we want to do a route get on slash thread slash, and then again the ID of the thread as a variable, so array uses forum controller at thread as forum thread. Really simple. Now let's create this controller. So in our controllers, we can close out of this for now, create a new file, forum controller.php, open the PHP tags, start the class, extends base controller. Now let's add these functions. I do, however, have to remember them. Index, category, thread, public function index, public function category, with the ID passed in as a parameter. Remember, we used a route parameter here, so this has to equal this. and then public function thread, again with an ID passed as a parameter. Now, for this, let's first go to the views and first add a link to the forums. So in the layouts master blade, we want to here, just after the home, let's just create another link. We want to link this to forum home, and we want to call this forums. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Now let's create some views. Or no, I'm going to actually show you another aspect of Laravel, because we can do this right now, but it is more useful to do this while we have some data to work with. So I'm going to introduce you to seeding. What seeding is basically inserting data into the table, but it's pre-configured data. So how do you do this? Well, you can have a look at database seeder here. And you can see how this works. In this class, database seeder, you have to add in here a this call and then the name of the class. So what we're going to do is create a new file. We're going to call it, let's see, how are we going to do it? Forum table seeder.php, and we open the PHP tags, class forum table seeder. And 1 second, guys, I have to quickly take up my phone. Okay, guys, sorry for that. So this forum table seeder class has to extend the seeder class, just like this one over here. Here. And then we want a public function run. Now everything you want to do has to go inside of this. So first, let's create some models in here for the user, for forum groups, forum what's called categories, forum threads, and forum comments. So new file, save it as forum groups.php, forum group, sorry, keep it single form. New file, save it as forum category.php, PHP, forum thread.php, and forum comments.php. So inside here, it's going to be basically the same thing for everything. Class forum group extends eloquent. Remember, all models which interact with databases have to extend eloquent, and add a protected table variable, which is going to give us the name of the table, which is forum groups, like so. Now copy this, copy, paste, and this is forum category and forum categories, and paste. This is forum threads, forum thread, like so, and lastly forum comment, forum comments. Awesome. Now we can use them. So here what we want to do is first of all call this. So this call forum table seeder, and in here we want to create some groups. So let's create a group. So forum group create with an array like So, and in this array, we want to make sure that we fill the entire thing. So what do we need? Well, we need structure, an ID, which will be done by the thing itself. We need a title and an author ID. Again, these will be filled in automatically. So a title and an author ID. For the author ID, I'm just going to steal this one, which is 1. Okay, great. So title is going to be equal to, well, general discussion, which is one you find on nearly every forum. And the author ID is going to be equal to 1. Great. Now we want forum category dot create array, and in here again, categories, structure, a title, group ID, and author ID. Well, this is going to have an ID of 1, so let's add in the ID of 1. So group ID is going to be 1. The title is going to be, let's say, I don't know, test category 1. Yes, I know, very original. And the other thing, author ID, is also going to be equal to 1. Now let's copy this. Copy and paste, and create a second one. And last but not least, no, we'll leave the threads till later. We don't need dummy data for threads. So what you want to do to make this actually work, check if this is called. Yes, awesome. Go to your project root. Again, open up a command prompt window or terminal. As so, let me just make sure that's good. And run the following command: PHP artisan db seed. Just like that. Hit enter, and it seeded the forum table seeder, as you can see there. Now, if I open up this and go to categories, there, we have 2 categories, and if I go to groups, we have a group. And as you can see, the ID is automatically filled in, and the created at and updated at are automatically filled in. Now let's see, how much time do we have? Okay, what shall I do? Okay, I will start with the groups because I think we can do that. So close out that for now, we don't need that anymore. We are going to open up the controller, forum controller, and look at the index view. So what do we want to do here? Well, we want to return a view, which we still have to make. View make, and then let's call it forum.index, which is appropriate. And we want to send it all the groups. So groups is equal to forum group all. Now forum group is the name of this model over here, and all is a method that comes with eloquence, and that basically means retrieve all the inputs of that database, or table I mean, all the records in that database. And we want to get all the categories, so categories is equal to forum category all. Awesome. And we want to ship them with the view, just as we did before. We want to do with groups groups. This is going to be the variable name in the group. This is going to be the value of the variable, which is going to be form group all. And with categories. Awesome, awesome, very, very simple. Now let's have a look at form views then. Close out of that. We can make that smaller and that smaller and that smaller. And views, let's create a new folder called forum and a new file and save it as index.blade.php. Again, this will extend layouts outs.master, and this section will be content, and we will stop that section down here. And the section title, what did I call it? Head, okay. Head parent title is going to be forums, and then stop that section down here. Now in the content, let's look at what we are going to do here. We're going to use bootstraps, what's it called? Get bootstrap panels. They're called panels, and you can find them in getbootstrap.com, and then components, and then on the right here you can go to they're not on here. Oh, maybe they're in CSS. Let me have a quick look. I will be right back. Okay guys, sorry, I looked over them. They're indeed under components and then panels. And here you can see we're going to be using these panels, or rather, no, we're going to be using, these panels with the primary. So this is going to be a panel primary, and you can see it's a header and a panel content. So let's do it. We want first, I want to make sure that we don't already have it here. Yes. Okay. First we want a containment div. So no, let's do that in master here. Let's surround this thing here. So class is going to be container. So all the content will be held inside a container. So in here we can just start with the panels. For each group we're going to have in the forums, we're going to have one panel. So we are going to start a for each loop. And again, in Blade you can use the @ symbol and then the loop name. So for each, and remember we call it groups as group. So, and we want to end for each there. We want to echo a div with a class of panel primary. Inside this div we want to have a div with a class of panel heading or header. Panel body, panel title, no, panel heading. Okay. Panel heading. And in here a h3 with a class of panel title, and this is going to be the group title. Now inside this div we want to have, inside the panel primary but outside the panel heading, we want to have a div with a class of panel, geez, I forget these names all the time. Panel body. Okay, panel body. And in here we just want to list all of the, whatchamacallit, we want to list all the categories. So we are going to use another Bootstrap component for that, and let me just look it up for you. Okay, so we are going to be using the list group in the components as well. And this is a basic example of how you would go about creating one. So what we want to do is, first let's do an if statement. No, let's just do it for each. So for each, again, but this time it's going to be categories as category, and for each. And inside here we want to create an unordered list. Does this have any styles? Probably it does. List group and then list group item. Okay, so class list group and an ally of class list group item. Now I made a mistake. Whoops. This should be outside of here, like so. Awesome. Just like that. So for each category, when you want to echo a list item, and inside of them, okay, sorry, not a list item. We want this to be a div, and these to be links. Excuse me for that. So, but by not like looking up all the class names, I also want to like show you how to look up certain things and go about using documentation and stuff like that. So that's also why I'm showing you that. So inside this each link, we want to of course echo the name of that category or the title. So category title. And let me see if that should be it. Oh no, of course, but first, before we just land out echo that thing, we want to make sure it belongs to that group. So we're going to use an if statement. If the category ID equals, category group ID equals the group ID. So if this category's ID equals this group ID, we want to echo that, and we want to end if. Just like that. Now fingers crossed, let's hope this works. Reload, please don't crash. Good, we got the extra link here. And as you can see, we have a panel with the group name and the test categories which are in that group. Awesome, awesome. Now to finish up this tutorial, I just want to incorporate these as links. And probably get rid of this border here, so and thereby showing you how to integrate custom style sheets, or where you would store style sheets in Laravel. Okay, so first let's handle these links. So of course, for a link you need an href attribute, and in here we are going to use the URL route as you've seen me do before, and we're going to route it to forum category. However, this forum category has a parameter in the URL. So we can pass that parameter by doing a comma after the string and passing in the value. In this case, that would be the ID of the category. So category ID. Then if we reload this page, we can see these are links, and if I inspect the element, I can see that this links to category 1 and this links to category 2. Very, very nice. So that's that handled. Now for the style sheets, excuse me for that sound. Let me just put that on do not disturb. Okay. So now let's get rid of this. When you inspect the element here, you can see that this panel has a padding of 15 pixels. Now, how do we get rid of that? First of all, let's go into our code here and add a custom class, or not in there, but to our panel body, and add it and call it panel list group. Then we want to go to our master.blade.php and include a style sheet up at the top. So link rel style sheet text CSS, and the ref is going to be /. Now remember this /, and then CSS, and then the name of the style sheet. So I'm just going to call it style.css. Now where do we store the CSS? We want to go to not the app directory, but the public directory, so where the index file is located. And inside of the public directory, we want to create a new folder and call it CSS. And inside here, we are going to create the file style.css. Now remember, because we set the document root of our Apache server to this public folder, the home will be the public folder. And this slash over here means home directory. So home directory, which is public, CSS, style.css. Okay? So now inside here, just incorporate that style very quickly. So panel body, I did with a class of panel body and a class of panel list group. Oops. Add a padding of 0. And reload the page. Okay, so the padding in the corners was stopped. Now let's get rid of these rounded corners over here and this bottom thingy, which is probably the list group itself doing that. Yes, margin bottom here. So let's fix that as well by doing that. Adding a margin bottom of 0, and of course we want to target the list group. So remember the space which says first select this, and then inside this the class of list group. So that will have a margin bottom of 0 and a border radius of 0. Refresh. And there's still a border radius on there. So if I inspect the element, it's not that one. It's this one, border radius 0. Line heights. Huh. Maybe it's because this is the first one. Yeah, here, first child, border radius. So we want to, of course, do that differently. So instead of doing that, we want to reference list group. What is it? List group item first child. No, this one. List group item. List group, sorry, dot list group item first child, border radius of 0. Reload the page, and as you can see, the border radius is now gone, and we have a perfectly nice list of our categories. So that was it for today. Next video I will show you how to list how to handle the categories, and yeah, I will see you then.